So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Startup Centre Victoria meetup. And this evening's special guest is Simon Buckley from Kyneton in the beautiful Macedon Ranges. And I think that's Tungarung country. Is that right, Simon?
Believe so.
Yes, and I'm over here in Dja country, and someone might be coming in from other areas around. So we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we are meeting on. So tonight is a very special interview because Simon and I met through the Startup Central Victoria Accelerator program. So we have a past history, don't we, Simon?
We do, yes. The very start of the Startup Central Victoria program. It's been a fantastic journey since.
Yeah. Well, I'm catching up. So we're 12 months on. How about we start by you explaining to us what Trusted Avenues is and how, just paint us the picture of what it looks like, and so that we know what you're talking about. So tell us about now, and then we'll go back and follow your startup journey.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. It's look, Trusted Avenues is a business networking platform that I developed. Basically, what I found in my day-to-day work at the time was that I was building a fantastic relationship with a lot of good clients, a lot of people in high positions, and it was all sort of in my profession. It was sort of one-way traffic, all directed towards me. I wanted to give back to them, and I thought, what if there was a way that I could actually share their details if needed in the right format, in a private and non-intrusive way, with other people that I knew, so that I could actually return the favor and provide them with some business and potential revenue and things like that, even if it was just meetings and catch-ups, that people could get benefit from. So the plan from that, from me personally, was I used to use social media a fair bit. In the last sort of 5 to 6 years, I've certainly dropped off it because I just found it was becoming irrelevant, and there was far too much spammy and just unnecessary communication and contact. So I wanted it to be clean, simple. I wanted it to be, if you receive one message from a platform, that it's actually meaningful and it's going to result in you conducting some sort of business transaction. So from that, I got to the drawing board and decided to, I suppose, put some skin in the game. And I developed what is now Trusted Avenues, so an online platform, which probably the best way to explain it to everyone is probably just to share my screen for a moment with our explainer video, and basically, try and create business transactions within our own existing networks that we may not know already exist, and they're just sort of passing us by. So bear with me for 1 second, and I shall share this, and we can have a look at this short little explainer video.
Welcome to Trusted Avenues, a free-to-use private networking platform that will open up business opportunities between you and your Trusted Avenues existing networks. In a time when we could all use a helping hand, Trusted Avenues is the platform to help keep business transactions within your local network where possible. Create your account and connect with your own Trusted Avenues of business via email or by your own unique Trusted Avenues username, allowing you to refer your existing contacts to one another. Once connected, your potential avenues list will start to populate with other users that your Trusted Avenues are connected with, opening up a world of new trusted professions to you. When viewing the potential avenues list, only the profession and location are shown to help keep your network private and to ensure that any referral requests are indeed relevant, as they are requesting the profession for a specific task and not just the person. Once a referral request is made, it is then sent to the Trusted Avenue of the profession requested to approve, before reaching that user to accept and complete the referral. When you receive a referral from a Trusted Avenue, know that they have already qualified the requesting user and deemed appropriate to forward on, creating an opportunity 4 times more likely for you to complete a business transaction than you would via a standard meeting. The more trusted avenues you connect with, the more potential avenues you will be able to be referred to or be referred by. If you were to have 10 trusted avenues and they each have 10 further connections, you would have 100 new professions on your potentials list that someone you trust will conduct business with. If you were to have 20 and they have 20, 400 potentials, 30, 900, 50, 2,500. Trusted avenues will not only save you time, effort, and money to find a trusted source of business at the click of a button, but minimizes the uncertainty of dealing with someone previously unknown to you. Imagine you're looking for a real estate agent in Melbourne, Australia. When searching online, you would find thousands of agents, but you would have little to no knowledge of who they are, the way they conduct their business, or if they're a trustworthy source. Now look at your trusted avenues potentials list. Sort by profession to see if any of your trusted sources have a connection with an agent that they trust. Simply request a referral. He or she approves the request, your details are shared, and immediately you're dealing with an agent that a trusted avenue has recommended. Connect with your trusted avenues today. Start referring and open up a world of business opportunities within your own network. Trusted avenues. Bring your network to life.
So, Kerry, that's our little explainer video that we'll be pushing out after it's been redone, which we'll get to shortly. But yeah, basically, again, I was finding that there was people that I was sort of just taking one-way traffic to, and I wanted to give back to them and share good people with good people. You know, we all know that referral business is the best way to conduct business, but also, as I mentioned, I wanted to really minimize any irrelevant communication, spammy behavior, and things like that. So there's a key focus on privacy, which you've seen there, which makes us a point of difference compared to other larger platforms where certain people might just be out there looking for numbers. You know, it might be a numbers game for them where they might have, you know, you see 500 plus connections and you go in there and you see they've got 6,000 people that they know. No, they don't. They might know 20 of those people. Again, I'm just trying to scale it back and actually make it relevant and make it actually worthwhile. So again, as I mentioned, if you receive one email per year, it's going to be something that results in a business transaction. I'm not looking to take over the world just yet. But you know, this is why, you know, it's all about keeping it local, keeping it within your local network. So not necessarily physically local, but you know, within people within your phone contacts and people that you've met over the journey. So yeah, it's a little exciting thing that I come up with, and now it's amazing to see that it's actually there and up and going.
Well done. And I even saw my business name on that little video. So I made the cut. Well done.
Yes, one of the very trusted sources of mine.
That's good to know. So you've explained a little bit about why you came up with the idea, but what business skills, is this your first business or do you have a business background? What skills did you have to take that idea forward?
I didn't really have any, to be totally honest, Gary. To be honest, I think I just got sick of working for other people, and I just wanted to take on the challenge to push myself a little bit, take a risk. Where previously, you know, you just go from job to job that you apply for, and it runs its journey, and then you end up applying for something else that may or may not suit. The ability to potentially work from home, work on the go, work from a balcony on the Gold Coast sort of thing, if it's, you know, all laptop friendly, you know, certainly appealed to me as well. And I thought, you know what, I should explore this a bit more. And as I said, I bit the bullet and, you know, put some skin in the game.
So cast your mind back to the point where you applied for the Accelerator program through Startup Centre Victoria. What point were you at then?
I was already in the process of into the process of developing, the platform. And my wife actually caught it in the local paper and said this could be good, which I certainly agreed, because as it sort of started to come towards the end of that development process, I realized that, you know, I thought I knew a bit, and I probably did, but I certainly didn't know anywhere near you know, what I needed to actually realize its potential.
Okay, so you came into the program, you'd done a lot of work already, and I do remember you were totally clear on what you wanted to achieve, and that outcome hasn't changed, has it?
No.
That has not changed your idea. It's just how you've implemented it. So what did change in the 18 months since I first saw your idea presented? What were the obstacles? What were the changes, good and bad, along the way?
I suppose probably the biggest thing for me with the startup program that really assisted me along the journey is that it taught me that I needed to actually hone in on one thing for a start. When you're in that developmental stage, you've got ideas bouncing around everywhere. Having our weekly catch-ups after our initial meetings and things like that just really helped me focus on one thing at a time, made sure that I did things properly when I thought I was doing them properly. But again, as we find out a little bit later in our chat, it's you need to be aware of a lot more things. And as I said, I attacked it head on, but I certainly ran into a brick wall at some stage.
And you actually had a different name for your business back then.
I did, yeah. I did have a different name for the business, and I'm not too sure if legally I can say that name, to be totally honest.
Well, you're not using it, so yeah.
Well, that's true. Well, it was
anyway,
Irish.
You had a different name. Why didn't you continue with that name?
Well, basically, I got to the stage where everything had been completed with the platform, and I had domain names, company names, everything like that. I got 100% through to launch phase. And I will say prior to all of this that I did do my research and I did do my due diligence of what I thought. And it came time to register my trademark. And this was obviously, I didn't have a logo or anything like that. I only had the idea at that stage. And when it came time to do that, I submitted my application, and somewhere in between me doing that research and due diligence and ticking off all my boxes that I thought I needed to tick, someone else had came in with the exact name or key focus on the word I refer. So basically that sort of led us down I suppose, 12-month delay. It sort of taught me a lot more about it and tested my willingness to continue and things like that, because it's again, when you're starting out for the first time, it's very daunting, and to end up in a legal situation, it was quite scary.
So how did you resolve it? I mean, did you want to fight it, or how did you get through that process?
Look, we reached out to this other business, which was not up and running either. It was purely just the trademark had been registered, and theirs was in planning and soon to be launched, but still had not. It was in a different field, different category. There was certain elements as such as the only thing relatable really was that it was online, but it certainly had nothing to do with business networking or anything like that. We felt that it was in a completely different space and that we would be allowed to continue. And we wanted to be on the front foot once it was brought to our attention, as opposed to go any further and then find out down the track that you get a cease to operate letter or anything like that once we've gained some traction. So we reached out. They took some time to get back to us, which was quite painful to sit there and wait from that perspective. But when we did receive communication back, it was a cease to operate notice, as literally we'd just been up for a few weeks, and everything just came to a screeching halt. From that, we tried further methods with them, tried to negotiate with them, even just a small sort of financial sum to say, look, sorry for your time, to take up your time sort of thing. In the end, they weren't budging. And fair enough, by the letter of the trademark law, they got in before me. It's as simple as that. I still feel that it wasn't, we weren't rivals in any way. We weren't in the same field, anything like that. This person obviously was just as passionate about their business as what I am mine. And they wanted to protect that.
So how did you pick yourself up after that big disappointment? Obviously, delay, cost. Obviously, you had to get legal support to do this process. How did you feel at the end of that, and how did you pick yourself up again?
Yeah, look, going down the legal line's very draining. Not just financially, but emotionally and things like that. And look, I'm a 35-year-old bloke, and I don't have unlimited funds behind me, and I'm doing this solo because it was just my idea, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to have a crack, sort of thing. So I didn't have the money to do that as such. I had to find it. And in the end, it got to the very near stage where I said, I can't afford to put any more into this. But like I always say, where there's a will, there's a way. And I managed to get over that hurdle after a few weeks, and find that drive to go again. And here we are now with what is now a better name. I believe that the actual .com domain, which was astonishing, that took quite a while to find just a .com domain that was still available in the world. And I am now 100% fully trademark registered as of a month or so ago. So it was very, very draining. Again, both emotionally and financially. But we get through, and we're ready to push on.
So did you just step away and have a break? I'm really interested in emotionally how business people cope with these barriers that are presented to them. So did you just put it in a drawer and forget about it, or just
No, I didn't. I think that's impossible, to be honest. Look, I'm really passionate about sharing in anything, as far as helping anyone that you can throughout life. I'm a big fan of the Karma Bus, things like that. So whilst yes, it was emotionally draining, I wanted to see this succeed. So look, if this platform creates one referral that creates a business transaction, in my eyes, it's a success. If it creates one for every person that every user that joins up, it's an unbelievable success. And if it gets to beyond that, then it's beyond my wildest dreams as such. So in saying all of that, I knew the amount of work that I had put into it, and I knew that I had to keep going, and I knew again that I had to find a few more bucks, and I knew that I had to lean on my trusted avenues of business that already helped me along the way, such as my video creator. My cousin is the amazing voiceover artist on it. She's a professional voiceover artist in New York. She was kind enough to lend me her tones for a bit. The developers were fantastic with me once they knew exactly what was going on, because everyone's been involved, and I'm doing this solo. However, the trusted avenues of business that you create, and the friends, and the journey that you're on, even if they're not directly involved, but they're clients of yours, and vice versa, they become sort of a mini family as well. So once we got the name sorted, then it was straight to what we knew with the trademark issue, and we got that sorted straight away. And then we sort of set some more timelines, and they sort of gradually picked up speed, and momentum gained again, and here we are.
So you've got your first business then?
I suppose you could say that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Your official first startup. Who knows where you'll be going from here?
Yeah.
But once again, before we move on to where you're going from here, what would you do differently if you were just knowing what you know now? What would you do differently, if anything? I mean, it sounds like you had a bit of bad luck. You did your due diligence with the trademark, but is there anything you would do differently if you did it over again?
Oh, I would have loved to have been part of the startup Central Victoria course a few years earlier, when it was just an idea stage, Kerry. Look, there's a few things I suppose I would do different, and that is try to seek out someone within that industry, and not so much the business networking side, but just an online platform sort of thing. That I suppose, when I first came up with the idea, I had this idea, and I just thought it'd be local, my connections, my network, almost my personal directory. As we got further down the line, and I started talking to people about it and things like that, it sort of showed that it had a lot more potential than that, to go a lot larger. But again, in the same rights as well, we get told not to say too much to people when you're doing a startup, because you don't want anyone else to steal your idea and things like that. So you do have to be a little bit careful about that. However, if you've got those trusted people beside you, or of them, that you can certainly lean on. I would probably have lent on them a little bit more just for advice and starting off. Everyone's great to say, oh, yeah, hey, that's a great idea. Or no, it's not a good idea. But when it is a good idea and you actually are going to implement it, maybe, try and seek a few more experienced people to bounce a few more ideas and the way to best approach it.
So 2 really good pieces of advice there. Start at ideation stage, which is perfect for our pre-accelerator program. And secondly, reach out to those, trusted sources, which I guess is also what a pre-accelerator program will offer through the expert presenters and the people in the course with you. So
well, that's exactly one of the main things that we found out along the way, and not even through the course, but just with the whole thing and in general chat, is that in my situation where this platform or this business was going online. And when you're going online, you're essentially going against the rest of the world. Whereas if you're doing something, a small local business as such, you may not have that potential world exposure. What I found is that really, it's as silly as this sounds, the logo and trademark issue is more important than the actual platform at the start. Because if you don't protect that idea, which I was more thinking about protection of the actual platform itself rather than the name and the logo. So, just something as simple as that is, in the end cost me potentially, 12 to 14 months, and a lot of sleepless nights. And I just hope that anyone that does watch this or is thinking about that can actually just take a little bit of advice from me and check it right out.
Well, we do. We learn from each other, and that's what these meetups are so great. And I know you've attended a few in the past, and here you are contributing what you've learned along the way. So, if someone's got an idea, what would you say to them about if they thought, oh yeah, I've just heard about the Startup Centre Victoria Pre-Accelerator program, but oh gee, I'm busy. I've got kids. It's not really that far progressed. What's your advice to someone in that situation?
Find the time to join the program, 100%, and just make sure that you go in with an open mind. Basically, sure there were some areas of topics that weren't suitable to me, but even so, I still got great benefit from them. And they're things that you will remember in the past. One day you might come across something else. I know, for example, we had a session on exporting, and of course that's got nothing to do with me, but it was actually very, very interesting. And should ever the day come where I end up in something like that, I'm going to be able to draw on that. So the people you meet through the program are fantastic. The presenters were fantastic. I know my mentors were fantastic. We still talk regularly. So, there's certain things that they're invaluable, I suppose, is probably the best way to say it.
Ah, that's great. I should have checked that you did have a good experience before I asked that question.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it was a positive one.
Well, yeah, that's right. At least you know that I'm not just making this stuff up. There you go.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you say even the information that wasn't relevant to your business may be one day, which leads into my final question. Any other niggling ideas that you think one day I might think about doing something else in business?
Oh, look, there's I'm one of those people that I need to have a notepad by my bed, Kerry, to be honest, because I come up with ideas, some completely random at all stages of the night and things like that. You go down the rabbit hole of thoughts, and I've probably had probably 30 business ideas over the time. And, certainly some of them I could do right now, but I don't have the funds to back me in that situation. And I've also had a lot of terrible ideas that, again, I've ran by those trusted sources. And, that's one of the things that, they bring you back down to level if it's a bit silly. And, my father used to knock me back a fair few times, but I knew this was a winner when he sort of said, I'm interested, tell me more, that sort of thing. So even if it's just a little word like that, if you keep bouncing ideas, you'll certainly come across one. But, I've certainly got a lot more ideas in the pipeline, but, I need to build up the finances, the reserves before we attack those ones.
That sounds exactly what I'd expect of any entrepreneur to say. Always having ideas. And no, that's great. Look, Simon, I'm going to end this session now. I know there might be a few more questions, but we'll do them at the end. But I'm just going to thank you for your time and your candid sharing. You're certainly in a very different place to what I saw you when you were dealing with all of this. So congratulations once again on getting it to this stage. And we'll definitely have the link to your website when we post this on our resources page, so people can check you out and they'll know that you're a trusted source in the region, because you live here and you generally want to do encourage business to business, which is very much the Startup Centre Victoria philosophy. Actually, you should be running this program now I think about it.
I'm very busy, Kerry, at the moment.
That's it. But beautiful. Thank you so much, and for joining us in this month's meetup.